How you doing, YouTube? It's Will from Will Development. This is my 419th weekly update. Missed out on a couple weeks there. Let's see. I think, 2 weeks ago was the comp, right? It was like the 4th or whatever. Yeah, must have been 2 weeks ago. Happy to say I made weight, yada yada. And then the week after that was just my kind of BS week back, and honestly, I'm so slammed with stonework right now. It is outrageous, the amount of work I have right now. I'm very happy and thankful to have the work, but it has taken up a lot of my time and mental energy, to say the least. And I remember I was just sitting there Friday night, and I was just like, I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Kind of the same thing happened after the show. But I'll talk a little bit about the show. I'll try to keep this one still short and sweet. Made weight, which continues my trend. I believe this is my 18th comp. First Florida's, which is considered the heaviest in the state. And made weight, I'd say relatively easily. I went to bed Thursday night. Pretty easy water cut. Did like 4 or 5 sessions in a little sauna. Lose about a pound and then a half pound at a time. Got all the way down to like 176.3 according to my scale, and then I woke up at 175.4, and then just did one little easy little water bath, little 20 minutes there. Drove out, and I was, I think they said the scale I was like right at 175, so I was like, cool. Made weight, no problem. It was a great show. A few people I didn't know would be there showed up, and then some newcomer whose name I can't remember showed up. First strongman comp, wins the whole thing. It's outrageous, but the interesting thing about strongman as a competitive activity, we'll call it, is you can sort of make claims just based on who's there. And what that means basically is because at first I had trouble saying I was 4th in the state, the 4th strongest, 175 man in the state, out of the 5 that showed up. But still, you can play the game of, well, so-and-so didn't show up. And I did it to myself too. I said, well, if so-and-so had showed up, I'd have probably been 5th. Or if so-and-so and what's his name showed up, I'd have been 6th even. But the reality is you can't play that game. And honestly, that goes at the amateur level, novice amateur level, all the way up to the big pros. You talk about guys like just a few years ago, Brian Shaw and Thor Bjornsson and Eddie Hall and stuff like that. And it's like you can't play the game of, well, the only reason you won is because he wasn't there. You really can't play that game because you never know what's going to happen day of. So-and-so and what's-his-name could have shown up a couple weeks ago to Florida's. And so-and-so and what's-his-name could have torn something on the very first event and been just completely out of it. And then you can try to play the game of, well, you only won because they were injured. Well, guess what? Staying injury-free is part of the game. That's part of the competitive aspect. If you get injured on the day of, it sucks. It's not obviously unplanned. Nobody plans on getting injured. But being healthy enough to compete is part of it. And if you can't do that, you can't perform that necessary part of competing, then, you can't take the victory away from the other guy. And in this case, the other guy being me. But it's an interesting concept, and I'm not like, it's not a cocky thing at all. Like, ooh, I'm 4th in the state, respect me, whatever. Like, no, it's just, that's the rank I got this year. Next year I might be 5th. Next year I might be 3rd. You really don't know, and that's kind of sort of the cool part of it. But sort of an interesting thing and sort of a good thought experiment to have, again, like I said, even at the top level, you can play that same game, but it's a losing game to play because you can't make claims on things that didn't happen. You know what I mean? So it's literally the lottery. You got to be in it to win it. You know what I mean? So it's if you weren't there, you can't claim anything. It doesn't even matter if somebody I've competed against has beaten me at literally every event we did there. at a different venue, it doesn't matter because you don't know what would have happened day of. And so it's one of those things where even I've struggled with it, you know, like I started out this conversation, like, yeah, even I was like, yeah, I can't really make that claim, but yeah, I can, because of all the people that showed up, I was fourth. So, I guess quick breakdown, obviously the dumbbell was a 0. Getting the 145 would have been like, you know, snowball's chance in hell. And then they actually had a misload for the 175 men and loaded it to, I believe, 163 or even 165. And what was interesting is one guy actually got it and the rest of us zeroed it. And then they redid the whole thing. And even us, the fellow competitors, were like, no, man, like, no matter what any of us get on this redo, he should still win the event. Like, he shouldn't even have to do this event. Like, no, because if he can do 165, he can clearly do 145. Thankfully, he still managed to win it with I believe 3 reps. So I was very, very pleased that he was still able to do that. I was happy for him because honestly, like, it would have. I get both sides of it, where it's like, yeah, you know, everybody else only trained for 145, but at the same time, like, yeah, but he got challenged and rose to the occasion, and none of us did. So why should he be punished for being better than us in a literally demonstrably measurable way? But there again, that's that what if stuff, right? It didn't really matter because in the end he still managed to win that event. But then the question is, how much did it take out of him? You know what I mean? So it's a you know, zero-sum game there. If I'm using that right, I might be using that phrase wrong. I don't remember what exactly that means. But anyway, what was event 2? That was the Farmer Yoke Medley. That one hurt only on a personal level. I was like 2 feet from finishing it when time got called, and it stung. Especially because the reason I was so slow on the last Farmers movement was because of my own fault. I picked them up, no thumbs wrapped, got under the yoke. Going up was pretty okay. Going back was like, whew, but I managed it, no drops. And then for some reason, I wrapped my thumbs on the way back on the Farmers. And like right when I did it and stood up, I was like, why the hell did you wrap your thumbs? It gets in the way of my thighs when I do that. And it slows me down. Better grip, but it slows me down. I mean, it was only 220. My hands are strong enough no matter what to handle that weight for probably at least 40 seconds. So I don't know why the hell I did that. And it slowed me down. So it hurt. I still managed to get 4th on the event. And honestly, even if I had finished it, I still would have been the slowest of the ones who finished, so my placing wouldn't have changed. Then we did the deadlift. It was the only thing I did any kind of strategy on. Day of, I was feeling okay, and I was like, honestly, I probably pulled this for like 5. But luckily for me, the guy who went first, he decided to take it easy on me, and wasn't able to actually pull any reps, so I just pulled 1 and called it because I knew the other guys were going to pull 8+, and I was correct. I think the other 3, one of them pulled 10, and the other one tied with like 12 or 13, and I'm like, I would have never gotten there. On an amazing day, fresh, I might have been able to get like 6 or 7, so yeah, you know, strategy, just pull the 1 and call it a day. The only event of the day that actually really, really hurt was the sandbag toss. And I know exactly what I did wrong looking back on it. It was a 25, a 30, a 40, and a 50. I knew I wasn't going to get to 50, but I said just take your time. Get the 25, don't waste energy throwing it straight up, make sure it goes over. You know you can do the 30, you've done a 30 over 15 feet. This is only 13 feet, so it's not that bad. And then you've got a chance at the 40. Where I screwed up was I took too much time with the 25. I pumped it 2, 3, 4 times like I always do, threw it. Well, that wastes energy, and it wasted too much energy. Did the same thing on the 30, but it did go over, first shot. Then the 40 went up, got stuck on the pole, rolls back over on me. Did it again, happened a second time. That's when I kind of muttered, oh, come on. And then did it a third time. Went up, got stuck on the pole, rolled back over towards me. And that's when I yelled, oh, come on, and I had 10 seconds left. Out of energy, there's nothing I can do. I think that one maybe went 10 feet. That one hurt a lot. For a few reasons. One, because I really wanted to fucking get that, and I should have been able to fucking get that. Like, it really pisses me off. I know I'm capable of it. It'll never fucking happen again. I can promise you that shit. I'm gonna be one of the fucking best back throws you've ever seen in your life. That one pissed me off so much. So it pissed me off for that reason. And then it points-wise, what would have happened if I had gotten that 40? They weren't splitting times. I would have actually tied with the guy who was in third place, and that would have given me enough points to be within striking distance of the podium. But because I ended up tying with the guy in fifth place, because I only got 2 bags over, it meant that I could have zeroed the last event or won it, and I still would have been in fourth place no matter what I did. There was literally nothing I could have done. And honestly, walking up to that event, you know, even talking to a few other competitors, I was like, I'm not even gonna fucking, like, I might just do one just for funsies. Like, fuck it, why bother? And I kind of got bullied into it, and I was like, all right, I'll mosey around and just get a PR or whatever. The most I've ever done in training was like 3. Day of, I managed to get 5, and that was kind of without trying. And, you know, I think looking back, I probably could have gotten 7 or 8 if I really, really pushed it. And I think the guy who got third actually got 8. So if I tied him on bag toss, I would have had to beat him on the sandbag over bar loading event. If I had just beat him, I think I would have gotten third place if my math is correct. So that's why that damn bag toss really, really hurt. It won't happen again. Yeah, I'm working on that event like nobody's business, because that one just hurt so much. It's so close 3 times, and then just to not get it, just because the wind is blowing the wrong way. You know, that's kind of what it felt like. I remember the third time when it went up there, and it was like, that was probably the closest one to going over, and I saw it rolling back on me, and I almost didn't move. I was just stood there and just like, fuck it, just hit me. I don't give a shit anymore. You win. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it is what it is, though. Much happier with my performance at Florida's versus the one at Scorcher. I feel like my performance at Florida's was much more akin to what I'm capable of. And it kind of showed some people like, yeah, I'm not that bad. The Scorcher was just like a shit show for me. Just everything that could go wrong went wrong, even leading up to the show. I mean, fuck, I lost my keys the Monday before, and like had to go through 3 days of bullshit to get new keys cut for the truck, and then the weight cut was going like shit, and then just everything that could go wrong went wrong. Fucking monsooned before my go on the first event. Like, yeah, that whole thing was just a shit show. Should have been better for me, but, you know, it wasn't. So that's kind of why I was like, no, I got to do Florida's, because, you know, I know people are kind of looking at me now like, why is he bothering sort of things. And, you know, I don't compete because, you know, people judge me or whatever. Honestly, the kind of people that judge you in this sport, when they don't think you're good, there's nothing you can do to get their respect. You know what I mean? It's metaphorically, you could suck their dick and they won't care. However they feel about you, that's how they're always going to feel about you. And even if and when you beat them, it still won't matter. Like, they still won't respect you. You know what I mean? So doing better just to beat other people, it comes from anger, and anger fades. Because honestly, if I'm being brutally honest, a couple weeks out, probably about 3 weeks out from Florida's, I was legitimately discussing it with a few people about dropping out. Like, I was like, I just don't want to do it. Because the whole reason I signed up is because I was mad about how the Scorcher went. And it was like, wouldn't you know it? I didn't listen to my own advice, which was don't do something because you're angry, because anger fades eventually. Like, it just goes away. Everything fades. All emotions fade, you know. Habits are what keep you going. So, but I'm thankful I didn't drop out. I'm thankful I did it, and I'm thankful I had a much better showing than than what maybe some people, than even I thought I was capable of. I think my overall performance at the show was much more akin to what I'm capable of, and I can sleep at night with that. So now I'm just trying to get better. And better and better and better. And as of right now, the plan, I have 3 shows. First thing of the year, I've sponsored all 3 that I'd like to compete in. A couple of them I might not even cut weight. I may just jump into the 200s because, weirdly enough, I'm strong enough to where it's like, I can do the 200s weights. Maybe not be totally competitive, but I'm not that serious about these. They're just going to have a good time. And they're free for me, so, and then there's, after that, man, I'd love to qualify for OSG. That's the big plan this year. I've kind of seen what 25th place at OSG looks like in the 175 class, so I have an idea of what I need to be capable of, and I'm close enough on some stuff, but I'm not close enough on other stuff to get there just yet. So it's one of those things, and I just got to keep working, and I'm just enjoying this off season. Those 3 shows I talked about, not even going to train directly for them. Like one of them's got a farmer's hold and a seated arm over arm drag. I might practice farmer holds every once in a while just for funsies, just to make sure I'm still good at them. But that's it. The other ones I'm not even going to do any direct comp work. I am just going to train how I want to train right now and actually enjoy fucking training and getting just like stupid strong. Get my base to the point where like pulling 500 for like 3 reps is just like an everyday occurrence, you know what I mean? And then working on getting that to 520 for 3 is just a normal everyday occurrence. Any day of the week I know I could walk up to the bar and pull 500. That kind of thing, Any day of the week I can walk up and press 220. Like just any day of the week. I have the flu and I can still manage to do it. That's the plan right now, and just keep pushing those numbers slowly up and up and up and up and up and up. And yeah, that's the plan right now, and that's the update worth 2 weeks worth of updates. You get 2 weeks for the price of 1. And yeah, so and goddamn sandbag toss. I'm gonna do the same thing I did with bench, or when I really wanted to get my bench up, just dissect the hell out of the movement and just get really good at it. Really technically sound, and then just really focus on channeling my power into that fucking bag. And I want to be able to throw like a 30 over like 17 feet. That's what I want to be able to do, like consistently. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. Thank you for your patience. I'm not going to even make the promise of uploading the footage for from Florida's. We'll see what happens. I might do it. I might not. But consider this the comp recap and 2 weeks worth of updates, and yeah, we'll go from there. So yeah, don't sign up. Don't do things out of anger. It fades. Do it because you want to do it, and sometimes you really need to search your heart to make sure you actually do want to do it for the right reasons, which is usually comes down to just doing it for you because you want to, or if you even you feel like you need to. Yeah. And if you don't, then what's your excuse?